Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be filling out a hypothetical electoral college map based solely on the net approval numbers of President Trump. So we're going to go through all 50 states, look at Trump's current net approval. If he's underwater with more people disapproving of him, we'll give those over to the Democrats. If there's more people who approve of him in the state, we'll give those over to Trump, just to show you what that hypothetical electoral college map would look like after going through and doing that, especially because there's a lot of these results that are very close, either slightly to the positive or slightly to the negative. States where Trump is at least within 5 percentage points to the net negative, at the end, we'll flip those back over and give those to Trump to show you how that would change the race and make it a bit more competitive. So we're going to go through, and this is really just kind of an exercise to see how Trump is doing in terms of his net approval in all 50 states, to kind of show you where the country is currently at with Trump in terms of his job approval. So these, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, the more orange or red a state is, the more to the net disapproval Trump is, and then the greener a state is, the more to the positive approval he is. So actually, it's kind of interesting. If we go back, this is how the map looked for Trump his first month in office back in January of 2017. As you can see, there's a lot of green on this map, but a little less than 3 years later, this is where we currently stand, and things have shifted quite a bit. So we're going to start out west and kind of work our way back east. So at Washington, he's negative 29, Oregon negative 25, California negative 32, Hawaii negative 32, and Alaska negative 1. So actually all of those going over to the Democrats. And again, that Alaska result was really close. At the end, we're going to go back and give Trump the states where things were within at least 5 percentage points of to the net disapproval, just to show you how that electoral college map would change. So a good start off here for the Democrats. Moving over, we have Nevada negative 14, Arizona negative 4, Utah negative 3, Colorado negative 18, New Mexico negative 18, and then finally some states where Trump actually has some solid approval at Wyoming plus 26, Idaho plus 18, and then Montana very close between positive and negative at just negative 1. So going through and filling out those states. Now, Utah being blue, there's almost no chance that that is going to happen. But again, that was another one of those states that was really close. So now going through the Great Plains, we have North Dakota plus 5, South Dakota plus 6, Nebraska minus 4, Kansas plus 6. This is actually some better news for Trump out of Kansas in particular, where we've a lot of the time seen him below water with his net approval in the state over the past couple of years. Oklahoma plus 8, as well as Texas plus 2. So all of these states are filling in red, except Nebraska. Now, I'm actually going to fill out most of Nebraska red. I'm assuming most of his negative net to the disapproval side are coming from that more Democratic 2nd congressional district. So that's how we'll fill out that state in this example. Now let's go through some of these southeastern states where Trump is a bit more popular. Louisiana at plus 12, Mississippi plus 16, Alabama plus 21, Arkansas plus 6, Missouri plus 6, Tennessee plus 16, Kentucky plus 11. So all of those states going over to Donald Trump, as what you would expect, because these are states where Trump had his largest margin of victory back in that 2016 election against Hillary Clinton. So now let's go way down into the southeast and kind of work our way up the East Coast. So Florida negative 2, Georgia negative 3, South Carolina plus 7, North Carolina minus 3, and Virginia minus 7. So all of these going over to the Democrats, really close and competitive though, except South Carolina a bit more positive there for Trump. All these states, however, within single digits, whether they were to the positive or negative side. And then a couple of other states where Trump is doing decently well. You have West Virginia at plus 19, and then also Indiana, one of the only Midwestern states, if we're just looking at this tight corridor here within the Midwest. I guess you can throw Missouri and some of these other states into the Midwest as well, but kind of this Rust Belt, really key important area. Indiana is actually the only state where he's currently above water with his net approval, and some of that has to do with Mike Pence being his vice president, the former governor there of the state of Indiana. But then we get into what are arguably the most important set of states going towards 2020. That's right here in the Midwest, where Iowa, negative 12, Illinois, negative 24, Wisconsin, negative 17, Minnesota, negative 14, Michigan, negative 13, Ohio, negative 6, and Pennsylvania, negative 9. So some really bad numbers through that area of the country for Trump, giving those over to the Democrats. And then moving from the east up into the northeast, and this is Democratic territory, not out of all of these states, whenever we go into statewide elections, the Republicans feel like they might have a little bit better of a chance in areas like Maine or New Hampshire compared to the rest of the block of Northeastern states. But even in this scenario, not doing all that well. So -13 in Maine, -20 in New Hampshire, -34 in Vermont, -25 in New York, as well as -25 in Connecticut and Rhode Island, -33 in Massachusetts, -17 in New Jersey, -22 in Delaware, -27 in Maryland. And I don't think they do the District of Columbia here, but based on what we know from the District of Columbia, that's probably where Trump has the worst overall net approval of any state or area or district in this particular situation that has electoral votes to give out. So we'll fill all of those in blue to show what we have as kind of the final tally once we get all of these states filled in. So that gives us to a situation where we're at 387 electoral votes for the Democrats, 151 for Donald Trump and the Republicans. Clearly a blowout scenario, and in the Democrats' wildest dreams, probably not going to be able to get up to this type of number. Now we're going to go back through and give Trump back the states where he was at least within 5 percentage points to the net negative. So that included Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Utah, Montana, as well as Alaska. And we'll even throw in the 2nd Congressional District of Nebraska and the 2nd Congressional District of Maine. And that gets us to a situation where we're at 302 for the Democrats, 236 for the Republicans. This is actually pretty close to what we had back in 2012 in the Obama versus Mitt Romney matchup. The only differences in that one were Obama took the 2nd Congressional District of Maine as well as the state of Florida. And this is the final 2012 map where the Democrats were at 332 and Mitt Romney and the Republicans were at 206. So clearly a map that's within the realm of reasonability if this is how things were to play out. Now, let's see how much further we have to go to actually get Trump to get to the at least 270 electoral votes to win. So going through here, you can see Ohio at -6, so we'll give that one back over. Then we get to 284 to 257. And then Virginia was at -7, so we'll give that one over. It's still not quite enough where the Democrats get to 271 to 267. Still having the lead there on the Democratic side. And then Pennsylvania at -9. I believe that was the next closest result to the net negative. So giving that one over, then you finally get a situation where you have enough electoral votes to get over the line if you're President Trump at 287 to 251. But you have to dig quite deeply into some of these states where Trump has very large net to the negative on the disapproval side, then approval to finally get him to a point where he can get over that 270 threshold. So kind of just an interesting exercise to go through today, showing you how the Electoral College could play out based on the current net approval of the president. And some of these states are really bad news for Trump, particularly areas like Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, New Hampshire. Some of these states where Trump wants to be competitive and continue to do well in some of these areas, but it just is a hard case to make based on being net to the negative in double digits in a lot of these areas where he needs to pick up these states or do well in to do well enough in the Electoral College to grab the victory. So that's going to wrap this video up, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and hope to see you guys back here for my next video.